right? And of course, for UTAR students, you can see that you have a QR code that is available for you to scan. So please do not forget to do that, okay? We will be starting shortly. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much and welcome to the virtual site visit to DR Chemicals at Sendirian Berhad. So firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Vignesh. I am from Herod University, but in iChemie POPSIC, I'm the University Roadshow Director, and I will be your MC for today's event. Okay. And before we begin, just a few things. For those of you who just joined us for the session, please remember to keep your microphones muted at all times, all right? Except for perhaps the Q&A session later, all right? But at the same time, please remember to scan the QR codes shown here, or I think it's already shared in the chat by one of your fellow iChemie student chapter committee members, yeah? But one thing I'd like to highlight for now is that in order to ensure the smooth transition of this whole entire event today, I would like to get your cooperation to not use the chat unless you have a question, all right? So if you have a question, you're more than welcome to type the question in the chat, and we'll try our level best to cover that question during the Q&A. Otherwise, we hope that you do not use the chat. We will try to keep the chat as specific or as focused on what questions that we're going to ask later today's session. All right, so just a little bit of background. The university roadshows, we've been having the roadshow since 2019 and the whole of 2020 as well. And of course, as part of the roadshows, we also have site visits to industrial sites related to the palm oil industry. So it could be the palm oil plantation, or it could be the palm oil mills, or it could be any stage of the palm oil value chain. All right, but unfortunately, due to the current restrictions that we are facing, site visits are a little bit something that that we are struggling with at the moment. However, one thing is for sure, we have during times of crisis, we have somehow find unique ways and alternative ways for us to do our jobs and perform our task. And one of that is to visit a site. So therefore, that is the reason why we have the site visit here today. All right, so it's a virtual site visit, and we would like to first start off with a little bit of an introduction. We have a series of talks today. We have about 4 presentations, quick presentations, and then followed by a sharing session. And then at the end of the day, we have a Q&A session where you have the chance to ask the speakers your questions, okay? But of course, I'm made aware that there are questions posted before the event started today. So we will cover that as well, okay? All right, without any further delay, I think we can introduce Professor IR Dr. Chong Mei Fong, who will be representing Daya Chemical, Sendirian Berhad, and she will be presenting an introduction to the company as well. So whenever you're ready, Prof. Chong, go ahead.
Hi everyone, can you hear my voice?
Loud and clear.
All right, okay, so welcome everybody to our virtual site visit to Daya Chemicals Sendirian Berhad. And I'm aware that most of all of you are our undergraduate students from various universities, and definitely the majority of the students are from UTAR. So thank you very much, and I would appreciate your interest of applying to the virtual site visit to our company. And our company name is Daya Chemicals Sendirian Berhad. And what we do, we usually do everything about water and wastewater treatment. So as an introduction, all of you know that water is life. Sorry, can I have the first introduction slide? All right, okay. So, okay, yeah.
Is it the water in life slide?
Yeah, the 1.0 introduction slide. Yeah. Okay, so but when you drink water, you are not aware that you have a contaminant, and that contaminant, we call it as aluminum residue. And usually we want to control the aluminum residue at 0.2 ppm in the drinking water. And this aluminum residues is coming from where? It's basically coming from the water treatment chemical that we dose in to treat our water. So therefore, what is the main task that Daya Chemical is doing is, we are a company manufacture a special kind of chemical where is having a trade name called diachloroaluminium chlorohydrate. So this is a more advanced materials that allow us to use this chemical at a small dosage so that the residue aluminum in the drinking water could be as minimal as possible. So this is the whole idea of Daya Chemical. So if you imagine, if you drink water every day and having 0.2 ppm of aluminum residue in the drinking water every day, you, by the years of 40 years old, like how old am I now, you already have about 3,000 milligram of aluminum in your body. So it's about 3 grams. So it's one small stone basically. So obviously, if you have too much of aluminum in your body, it will cause a disease called Alzheimer's disease. So may I have next slide? Yeah. So UTAR Chemicals Sdn Bhd is established in 2016. So it's about 15 years ago. So our aspiration is would like to be the leader and innovator in providing sustainable solutions in water and wastewater problems. May I have next slide, please? So the core values of our company is we would like to build trust. So we want to be the trusted partner to our customers. It means that we work based on data and facts rather than just commercial talk. And we value people because our people is the most important asset in our company. And we also want to add values to not only the society, but also to our environment, where the rakyat of Malaysia, for example, or the person who drink our water will one of the fundamental of the key values or the key values that we want to bring to the entire community of Malaysia. And we would like to look ahead because we always do R&D. We want to ensure that we bring in advancement to the area of water and wastewater treatment. Yeah, may I have next slide? Yeah. So, as we mentioned, we have the trademark chemical, and this chemical, we call this as diachlor aluminum chlorohydrate ACH, which is supercoagulant. So we have our own manufacturing plant, and our manufacturing plant is designed based on a zero waste technology. It means that we would want to achieve 100% conversions of raw material without having a byproduct which is produced by anywhere of the bioreactions. So in our production plant, we have about 24 numbers of sequential batch reactor, and this reactor has the capacity of producing 3,000 metric tons of diachlor aluminum chlorohydrate per annum. And this is actually funded by commercializations of R&D fund, MTTC, is a kind of government fund that provide to the company to commercialize the product which is out of R&D activities. And the best thing about diachlor ACH is we are able to produce almost undetectable residue aluminum in the treated water. Yeah, next slide. Next, yeah. So the key management team is Mr. Chong Kim Nguyen, our managing director, and I'm Mei Fong here, which I'm the technical director who actually take care of the technical activities in this company. And where else Mr. Chong is actually taking care of the business activities of the companies. And yeah, may I have next slide? So what is diachlor supercoagulant basically? So it is a special formulated polyaluminum chloride salt where we have a high concentrations of polymerized aluminum chains as aluminum 13. So it means that you need to imagine that you have about 13 aluminum molecules that join together to form a polymerized chain. So this is the characteristic of why we are able to make PSC as a supercoagulant rather than a normal coagulant. So these kind of chemicals are environmental friendly because it has a zero waste manufacturing protocol and is cost efficient, and it is also highly effective because we use very, very low dosage. We are healthy. The chemical is healthy because it generates less residue aluminum in the treated water. And it is less dosage, it means that it gives our customer cost saving. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so in terms of the values that we bring to our customers, most importantly, we uphold our professionals' values. It means that besides just a trading kind of chemical, besides trading chemicals, what we mainly do is like we will go to the site and we will conduct plant trial. So we give promises to our customers based on our plant trial results. So if you look at, for example, in these pictures, you have the Diaclo results and you have the competitors' results. So we allow our customers to see by their own eyes rather than we do some claim which might not be justifiable with an evidence. And if you look at the treated water before and after, so before that it was like quite yellowish, but after that is crystal clear. And also at the same time, we actually educate the customers on how important is to provide healthy water to our end users, which is everybody here as Malaysian. So because of that, we are able to offer a premium product with cheap price, and definitely we are able to guarantee the outcome or performance. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so our products come with 3 forms, and we call it as Diaclo PSC1, Diaclo PSC2, and Diaclo PSC3. So all of these supercoagulants, even in different form, they are still supercoagulant as Diaclo SCH. So Diaclo SCH is the mother component where we formulate it by using different concentrations to get the end product as PSC1, PSC2, and PSC3. So all these products are SIRIM certified, SPAN certified, NSF certified, and Halal certified to actually meet the regulations and the certifications requirement by our Malaysian government and also the overseas regulations for overseas market. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so besides that, we also use polyfloc series flocculants. So if you look at these pictures, we have many types of flocculants. So what are these flocculants used for? They are used as coagulant aid. So it means that if I use only supercoagulant, the result is not good in terms of water clarification. Then I would add on some other form of chemical to aid the treatment process or to enhance the treatment process. Yeah, next slide. So in terms of the impact of our products, what we think in terms of as in their chemicals perspective. So in terms of social economic, I think we are able to produce healthy water with undetectable residue aluminum in the treated water. And also we actually able to eliminate the use of cancer-causing polyelectrolyte. So you look at the previous slide of those coagulant aid or flocculants, they are actually polyelectrolyte. So in very rare case that we would want to dose this kind of polyelectrolyte into the treatment plant. And the reason is just because the residue of this polyelectrolyte will actually cause cancer to the end user. So therefore, we want to play our role to ensure water security of the country. And in terms of environmental impact, we produce 40% less scheduled waste. So in that case, we produce less waste that is harmful to the environment that we throw to the earth. And then we use less chemical and we ensure clean water for our future generation. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so therefore I would like to end my slide as we know that water is life and we would like to bring life to water. So that is the whole thing that we do. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Chong, for that presentation. So just to let everybody know a little bit about Prof. Chong, yeah. So Prof. Chong has 15 years of water and wastewater treatment experience, particularly in the R&D area. She also worked in University of Nottingham as a professor as well. And her goal is, of course, to reduce the gap between research and commercialization. So that's why you can see a lot of the work is centered around that as well. She's published over 40 international journals, has a lot of book publications as well. Her area of specialization, as you know, there are some over here as well that you've just seen in the presentation. She also looks at biogas systems and water and wastewater treatment systems as well. And she's also a recipient of the ASEAN US Science Prize, all right, highly commended award, all right, and also she has been given the Knowledge Exchange Innovation Award as well. So clearly, students, I think all of us are students here who are watching. You can see that Prof. Chong has a lot of experience, and of course, feel free to use the Q&A session later to ask her all the questions and to pick her brain as well, to get her experience out of there as well. All right. Okay, so thank you very much once again, Prof. Chong. We'll be seeing you shortly again. Right. So next up will be myself. Oh yeah. Okay. So in conjunction with today's event, I will be representing ICAMI POPSIC, or that is short for Palm Oil Special Interest Group. Okay, so that is short for POPSIC. I am the University Roadshow Director and recently the Deputy Chair as well. All right, so the Chair of the Special Interest Group is Prof. Chong from here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spend a little bit of time just to introduce to you what is ICAMI POPSIC and what are the things that we do. I mean, aside from this virtual site visit, okay, there's a lot of other activities that we do as well. All right, so can I have the next slide, please? All right, so but before I go any further, I just want to give you some information, okay, about ICAMI. ICAMI is Institute of Chemical Engineers, and the patron for ICAMI Malaysia is Her Royal Highness, the Queen of Perak, Darul Rizwan, Tunku Zara Salim. Okay, so Salim. So she is Her Royal Highness is actually the patron for ICAMI Malaysia. All right, next slide, please. And a little bit about ICAMI in general, then we will zoom in into ICAMI POPSIC, yeah. So ICAMI in general has about, I think this number is already updated, we have about 40,000 members, if I'm not mistaken. So in 100 different countries, yeah. So we have offices in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia, of course, as we know, and of course the head office will be in the UK. All right, ICAMI is in charge of accrediting university courses and also for training programs as well. They also actively publish The Chemical Engineer, which is the name of the magazine that ICAMI distributes at a monthly basis. Yep. So aside from that, ICAMI also is involved with organizing events, international events, and also a lot of training. So if you're already an ICAMI member, whether a student member or an associate member, you will see a lot of emails flooding into your inbox about the trainings and also the conferences and all sorts of events and other beneficial resources and features as well. All right. So also ICAMI, what they do is they award the Chartered Engineer status as well. All right. So this is a qualification, and also another additional one that they offer is the Professional Process Safety Engineer status as well. Yep. So next slide. All right, and this is of course specifically to ICAMI POPSIC. All right, this is our special interest group specifically focused on palm oil processing. Okay, and next slide. And before I go any further, I just want to acknowledge our sponsors. These are sponsors not just even for our daily activities or monthly activities, but also for the roadshow as well. All right, so particularly I'd like to highlight the Malaysian Palm Oil Council, MPOC, also Desmond Balestra, the Malaysian Oleochemical Manufacturers Group, and many others that you see in front of you. These are all active sponsors. So if you're wondering, where can I apply after I graduate? There's a clue here in front of you already, if you're interested to go into the palm oil industry. Okay, there are of course many other companies as well, but these are some of the companies that you can check out as well. Next slide. So who are we and what do we do? So we are a special interest group that was formed in August of 2015, all right, in Kuala Lumpur. And the whole point of the special interest group is to provide a platform or a forum to exchange ideas and to share experiences and to encourage innovation and improvement in the palm oil industry, okay? And we have volunteers who are passionate about the palm oil industry and process engineering. And of course, one thing is for sure, our group is not just limited to chemical engineers as well. All right, so we welcome a lot of people from other backgrounds who are particularly involved in the palm oil value chain as well. All right, so next slide. And we, just to share with all of you, we recently shared our 5th year anniversary already in 2020. So 5 years of excellence, and I believe we are still going very strong. All right, still a lot of events going on. 2021 is still a busy year for POP6, so we still have a lot of interesting events lined up for you. Surely the advertisement will appear at the end of the session today. All right, next slide, please. All right, and our objectives here are very important to highlight. All right, one of our objectives is, of course, to, at the end of the day, we are providing a platform to exchange ideas. But the key focus here is to promote best practices in the palm oil industry, okay? Next, also, we want to encourage innovation, all right, on how we can process palm oil and also to produce the products as well, and to promote professional aspects in the industry. And last but not least is, of course, to act as a focal point for those who are interested in the process aspects, because we are coming from, remember, we are from ICAME, and then we are joining the term palm oil as well. So obviously our minds are more in tune to think about process aspects. How can we improve the process? How can we optimize the process? How can we innovate the process even further, right? So that's what we are doing. Next slide. So now I'm going to discuss a little bit of some of the activities that we do as a special interest group. So we do a lot of activities. So here are some of them. All right, we conduct technical seminars, we also do forums, we do workshops, and we do webinars and evening talks. Okay, you see the term physical evening talks. I know this term seems to be a bit trivial now after 1 year being in lockdown, more or less. All right, but we have done a lot of evening talks, okay, that we do at 6 p.m. usually every Monday of each month. All right, and what we do is we invite people to share their ideas, share their thoughts, share their innovations, and to have further discussions as well. Now, obviously, because of the current situation, we do it on a webinar basis. So we do it online virtually, right? So if you're a member of POPSIC, you will see these advertisements coming out every now and then for each month. Yeah. Next slide, please. And aside from that, we conduct site visits. So these are just some of the examples of pictures of various places that we have organized site visits with. So we see Emery Oleochemicals. We've also gone to KLK Oleomas. We've also been to Oleon as well. So many different kinds of industry players from the palm oil industry as well, right? From the value chain as well. And of course, now, ideally, because of the current situation, we're also considering doing a lot more virtual site visits in the future as well. Yep. Next slide, please. And aside from the physical talks and also the seminars and all that, we also produce our newsletter. All right, so you will see that this newsletter, if you're a member of our special interest group, you will see that you will get this e-copy of our newsletters, which actually talks about the latest updates in the industry and some articles from various authors who are heavily experienced in the palm oil industry. All right. So, of course, we also do provide physical copies, but especially during these times, e-copies are also available as well. Yeah. Next slide, please. And apart from that, we also offer student bursaries. So we offer financial assistance to undergrad or postgrad students if they are interested to attend scientific conferences or workshops or any forum that is related to palm oil and palm oil industry. Okay. So if you are doing a FYP research, or you're doing a final year project, or you're doing a design project, and you, your team, or yourself would like to go and present it somewhere in a conference, we have student bursaries available. But the only condition here is that it should be related to the palm oil industry, because our focus is on that part. All right, so we normally give a bursary about 1,000 ringgit, up to 1,000 ringgit. And this is essentially to ignite the motivation of students and to support research and innovation in the palm oil industry as well. Okay, next please. And apart from that, you can also see this. This is another thing that we have available. We have the Best Final Year Design Award. So if any of you are doing your final year design project and it's related to the palm oil industry, all right, whether be it the upstream or downstream, all right, you can submit your final year design project report to us, and we will evaluate them, and then we will decide on whether the award, the report submitted is deemed to be suitable to be awarded this prize. Okay, and this is a group of students from UTM last time has won this award, and the award is about 2,000 ringgit annually. All right, so this is an annual thing, yeah. So usually, if I'm not mistaken, we take in applications or submissions every year in the month of October latest. So this is available in our POPSIC website, all right, a small website as part of ICAMI's website. You can get the information over there. I think it's safe to say that recently students, for 2020, the students from Heriot University, Malaysia has won the award, all right. Next slide, please. And apart from that, we also get involved in outreach programs and activities as well. So you can see that some of our senior members like IR Kwa, who has spoken on radio as well with BFM to promote palm oil and the palm oil industry. We've also had some of our senior members also meet with various stakeholders such as the ministers in our ministry as well. And then we also see also our key members engaging with key stakeholders in certification as well. Like you can see MPOC and MPOCC as well. All right, so we are actively engaging with various stakeholders in the palm oil industry as well. All right, next slide. All right, and apart from that, we are also an active sponsor of the ICAMI Malaysia Palm Oil Industry Award. So I'm sure a lot of you are aware that ICAMI Malaysia conducts the ICAMI Malaysia Awards every year. And we are actively also a sponsor of the ICAMI Awards as well for that particular category, which is the Palm Oil Industry Award. So you can see that there are previous winners, especially the 2020, the most recent winner is from Sunwin Solutions Malaysia as well. And these are all awards that basically encourage innovation further and also to recognize the contributions in the palm oil industry. Yep. Next slide, please. And of course, last but not least, we also have our university roadshows, as I mentioned earlier at the start of today's event. So we have planned for 24 universities, and we have been visiting 24 universities. All this, that is the plan for this whole entire cycle, and particularly focusing with those with the chemical engineering program, right? And the whole focus of our university roadshow at the end of the day is to promote the understanding of the palm oil industry and also to highlight the opportunities related to the palm oil industry as well. So we've visited several universities, okay, especially in 2019. We've gone to places such as Monash, University Malaya. We've been to UTAR as well. We've also been to Nottingham. We've also been to Xiamen. And then in 2020, that was our very active year. The whole year, we had a lot of university roadshows. And interestingly enough, different modes of the roadshow as well. So at the start of the year of 2020, before MCO, we had physical site roadshows. But after that, we conducted virtual roadshows as well. So the list of universities we have covered is ranging from UCSI, UKM, Heriot University. And then on top of that, we also had Curtin in Sarawak, Swinburne in Sarawak. We also did with the UMS together in one session. We also did another session with Sergi, UTM, and also UPM as well. And then we also did a UMP, and also, if I'm not mistaken, should be UTP as well. Yes, that's right. So hopefully I've not forgotten anybody, but thank you to all the universities for their support and for their never-ending motivation to help promote the palm oil industry as well as chemical engineering. Yeah, next slide, please. And yes, this was the recent 3 roadshows that we had. Of course, there's only 2 pictures over there, but we had 3 roadshows that I highlighted earlier. So we had a very interesting experience conducting this virtually as well. So these are the universities that you can see. These are the ones that actually took part in our virtual roadshows. All right. So because of the fact that we could do it virtually, we could, get involved several more universities at one particular event as well. So special thank you to all the universities from 2019 to 2020 as well. And next slide, please. And of course, I will not end it by saying there's nothing else. Of course, there's more to come in 2021. All right, so we are actively engaging universities for 2021 roadshows as well. So we've already sent out some invitations, but of course, if you'd like to organize further events with us, all right, we've also got some interest for previous universities that have already conducted the roadshow. They've already gotten in touch again with us. and they're very keen to do some version of the roadshow again. So you're more than welcome to get in touch with us. We'll be happy to discuss further on what kind of arrangement we can do for your university. And one thing is for sure, I highly encourage all universities to join together, to band together, and to come up with a unified event, so that we can actually promote chemical engineering and of course the palm oil industry together as well. All right, so next slide, please. All right, so with that, thank you very much for your time. All right, hope I did not bore you that much. All right, but this is just a summary of what POPSIC does. All right, iChemie POPSIC. So if you have any questions or any queries about what we do further, you're more than welcome to get in touch with us in the chat, and then we can answer your questions later. But if you're interested to join in and help out and to serve as well, we are more than happy to take you in as well. So just to give you a bit of a small idea on what is the composition of our committee, we have committee members that range from industry experts to academics to students as well, existing current students and those who have graduated as well. So we have a wide range of people. And one thing that is interesting about working with POPSIC is that you get access to different kinds of networks this way. All right, and this is very beneficial, particularly when you start working or when you're working or currently working at the moment as well, or it's very beneficial for your career pathway as well. So if you're interested to get in touch and you want to serve in some capacity, please feel free to get in touch with us. So our secretary's email is over there, Associate Professor Dr. Utayong, but also we have a general email at the bottom, the Gmail over there, okay? And if you'd like to know more about our palm oil special interest group, you can log on to this link in the front of you as well, all right? So that's all from me. Thank you very much. And it's a little bit awkward because I'm also the MC, so I'll have to carry on the conversation here, right? So, okay, so let's move on to the next talk here. So the next talk here will be, we'd like to invite Mr. Vincent Tiang, okay, who will be talking to us about the role of a chemical engineer in the palm oil industry. So this will be very useful, especially we have a lot of undergrad students from probably chemical engineering and maybe other similar backgrounds or similar disciplines as well, or renditions of that. So let me introduce a little bit about Mr. Vincent over here. So Mr. Vincent is a chemical engineer at IOI Pan Century Oleochemicals in Durian Berhad. Right, he is my deputy director for the roadshows. Okay, and he's also a graduate from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. He did his bachelor's in chemical engineering with honors over there. All right, and he's a recent graduate as well. So I think you guys can pick his brain on how, what is the preparation needed to obtain a job and to move on to the next stage of your life as well. That is if you're in your final year, I suppose. But for those students who are currently in your first to your third year, always welcome to start preparing now itself. Okay, and he's also a director of the organizing committee previously in the UKM University Roadshow as well. So yes, Vincent and I had a bit of history, okay, in the past. Okay, we've partnered together to organize the roadshow in UKM back in, if I'm not mistaken, February, if I'm not wrong, right? I think it was February or March, I think it's March. Yeah, and he's also was the executive head of industry and professionalism in the Chemical Engineering Student Club in UKM as well. So without any further delay, over to you, Mr. Vincent.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Vinesh. So very good afternoon to everyone who is on board with us today. So again, my name is Vincent. So I'm a recent graduate in chemical engineering. Currently working in the palm oil industry. So yes, afternoon. In this session, I'm going to share with you all about the role of chemical engineers in palm oil industry. So throughout the session, my presentation can be categorized into 3 sections. So first, I'll be talking about the palm oil processing industries. Then we'll touch on the chemical engineering knowledge that are being applied or integrated into the palm oil industry. Last but not least, I'll also touch on the several challenges lying ahead for the industry. Okay, so next slide. Yep, next slide. Okay, so before we dive into the role of chemical engineers, previous slide. Let's go to a more general picture about vegetable oil. So why we need vegetable oil? Basically because the population the population in the world is keep on increasing, as you can see from the statistic here. So together with the population, the demand for vegetable oil is also increasing. So this vegetable oil includes palm oil. So palm oil is actually one of the major source of food oil in the world. Okay, next slide. Okay, so palm oil or oil palm tree is grown predominantly in the equator regions, which covers Malaysia as well. So as for now, Indonesia and Malaysia are the two major palm oil producers in the world, where both countries has covered account for 86% of the global palm oil production, while India, China, and the European Union are the largest importers of palm oil in the world. Okay, next slide. Okay, so now let's zoom in into just now we see about the palm oil production in the world. So now let's zoom in into Malaysia. So in Malaysia, we are the second largest producer and exporters of palm oil worldwide, and Malaysia accounts for 10% of the world's oil and fat production, and 5.8 million hectares of land, or 17.5% of the Malaysia land mass is being used for palm oil cultivation activities. And palm oil itself is one of the top 10 largest export earners for Malaysia in the last decade. So, and also the industry has directly employed 600,000 people, and this number is keep on increasing. And also for your information, in 2017, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the commercial oil palm planting in Malaysia. Next slide, please. Okay, so palm oil is by far the most efficient oil crops compared to other sources of vegetable oil such as rapeseed, sunflower, and soybean. So as you can see from the slide, from the figure here, palm oil outmatches all other oil crops when it comes to the efficiency per used land. So it is no surprise that palm oil and palm kernel oil comprises 1/3 of the vegetable oil production in the world because of the high efficiency of the oil production. Next slide, please. Okay, now we sort of have an idea about palm oil in the market. Now I will touch on the palm oil processing itself. So how is palm oil actually produced? So actually, if you see from the background here, you can see there's a lot of palm oil trees. So actually, it all started in the plantation where the tree is grown and the fruit and the palm fruit is harvested. Okay, next slide, please. So palm oil processing, in some way, it is not so much different from oil and gas industry. So as we know in oil and gas industry, we have upstream, midstream, and downstream. The same applies to the palm oil industry. So the upstream is actually the palm oil mill, where the palm oil fruit harvested from the plantation is sent to for there to produce the crude palm oil, and also the kernel crushing plant is also part of the upstream. Then the palm oil refinery is the midstream, and then we go further down. At the downstream, it will consist of biodiesel producers, specialty fats, and also oil chemicals. So this part is the downstream of the palm oil processing value chain. Next slide, please. So in the upstream or in the palm oil mill, the fruit is passes through several processes before it becomes the crude palm oil. So this process includes sterilization and threshing, and here we'll release the fruit for the bunch. Then the fruit is digested and pressed to release the oil. The oil then passes through more separation processes, that being clarification and centrifugation, and then to remove the impurities and the solids. And finally, we will get the crude palm oil, or also known as CPO. And then the palm kernel, the palm kernel is another primary product from the process, whereas the biomass is considered as the secondary products. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we have the CPO from the upstream. This CPO will then be sent to the refinery for refining processes. So there is two types of refining processes, that being physical refining and chemical refining. So in physical refining, the CPO will pass through degumming, bleaching, followed by deodorization. While in chemical refining, the CPO will pass through alkaline neutralization instead of degumming, followed by bleaching and deodorization. So despite there is some difference between these two types of processes, both processes will give us the refined, bleached, and deodorized palm oil, or known as RBDPO. Next slide, please. Okay, then this RBDPO will be further processed in the downstream section, where the palm oil is fractionated to separate the solid phase and the liquid phase. The solid phase is known as stearin, shown in this slide here, and then the liquid phase is known as the olein. The olein can be further processed again to in this region we call it as the specialty fat production. So where the olein will become can be further processed into like soft PMF, super olein, and the mid olein, top olein, etc. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is these are the images as an example of a typical palm oil plantation and the palm oil mill. And then next slide. Okay, so this is a picture of a typical palm oil refinery and fractionation plant. So as I explained earlier, so the oil refinery will produce refined oil from the crude oil through degumming, bleaching, and deodorizing, while the refined oil will go through fractionation process to be further separated in between the solid phase and the liquid phase. Next slide. Okay, so this picture is a typical palm-based oleochemical plant, where the palm oil feedstock is being used to produce products such as fatty acids, fatty alcohols, fatty amines, methyl esters, and glycerines. These are generally known as palm-based oleochemicals. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have talked about different various types of palm oil products. So actually, where are those products being used in the market? So here we can see that actually palm oil has various applications such as cooking and frying oils. You can use in body wash, lubricating oils, margarine, bakery products, soap bar, even lipsticks as palm oil, and candles, so on and so forth. Next slide. Therefore, it is not unrealistic to claim that more than half of the products on sales in supermarkets are actually made with palm oil. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we have a overview about the palm oil processing industry. Now I will touch on actually what are the knowledge that chemical engineers can apply in the industry. Next slide. So actually, what is the role of chemical engineers, not just in the palm oil industry? As a general, the role of chemical engineers is actually to improve the quality of life. So how we do that? So as we know, chemical engineering, it involves physics, involves chemistry, involves biology, and also mathematics. So these various fields are being applied together, put together as chemical engineering science. So we also collaborate and exchange ideas with multidisciplinary teams in research and developments. So once we are properly trained and educated, we are able to make processes more sustainable and safer. So this is how chemical engineers can contribute to improve the quality of life by applying the chemical engineering science. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I believe in this slide, I believe the chemical engineering students, including myself, are very familiar with all the terms here. So these are basically I can say the subjects that chemical engineering students will learn throughout their 4-year degrees. So such as process technologies, mathematical modeling, safety, thermodynamics, and economic evaluation and sustainability, so on and so forth. So actually these subjects are actually, the knowledge from all these subjects are actually applied very heavily in the palm oil industry. So for example, actually palm oil industry consists of a lot of separation process like distillation, crystallization, filtration, etc. So all these processes are being taught in chemical engineering programs. So the chemical engineering students, actually they have in-depth knowledge about all these all these processes. And also chemical engineering students will learn mathematical modeling to simulate processes for processes such as catalyzed reactions and also crystallization. And palm oil industry as a processing industry, we cannot avoid hazard studies, management of change, all these safety related activities. So actually chemical engineers play a very important role in these activities because they know they have knowledge on safety and also loss prevention. And there are many more like process control, troubleshooting. These especially for those working in plant operation like myself. So we deal with a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of process control. So we need to apply the knowledge from system analysis and also for the process technologies as well. And we can go on like economic evaluation, can be applied in cost optimization, plant debottlenecking, and also sustainability is actually very crucial in palm oil industry, as the industry is always moving forward to optimize resource usage and always moving forward to convert waste to wealth. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so chemical engineers have a very wide range of career options in the palm oil processing industry. So this slide here can show the examples of the career options. That first being front-end engineering and design. So actually chemical engineers, we learn how to design process plants during our degree program, right? So in the front-end engineering and design, you might be involving in designing certain unit operations, or you might even be involved in designing one process plant. And chemical engineers also involved in plant operations. Like myself, I'm currently involved in plant operations. So engineers will be in charge in one or several plants. So in terms of the operation, the production processes, engineers can also involve in quality and assurance of the products. Engineers can also involve in research and developments, like what Dr. Vinesh and Prof. Chong is working. And chemical engineers will also work on continuous improvements. And last but not least, technical sales and marketing. So okay, even engineers can become salesperson. Yeah, but the thing they sell is more on technical, on the processes. So these are the several options that we as a chemical engineers can go for after we finish off our studies. Next slide, please. Okay, now I will touch on the challenges lying ahead for the palm oil industry. So actually, as advanced as it is, there's still a lot of challenges that palm oil industry is facing right now. So what are they? Next slide, please. Okay, so in general, the challenges for palm oil industry is to produce high quality palm oil using cost-efficient and sustainable processes. So, okay, so it can be separated into these three pillars, which is oil quality, plant efficiency, and process sustainability. This is basically the entire. This is the core challenges that the palm oil industry is facing, and is current. And both oil processors and technology providers are continuously looking into solutions to solve these problems and prepare for new challenges ahead. Next slide, please. Okay, so for example, in oil refinery, so these are the several examples of the challenges that refinery is facing in terms of efficiency, quality, and sustainability. So in terms of efficiency, it's basically how can we reduce, how can we increase the production capacity by reducing operating costs, by saving more energies, by increasing more high value side streams. And then as for qualities, there are a lot of oil qualities for palm oil, like the most recent the most recent one being the train CBT and GE. So I believe Dr. Vinesh mentioned about a little bit about this in his presentation earlier. So even my final research project is about train CBD in the palm oil as a contaminant. So these are currently the industry is transitioning to address this issue. As for sustainability, that it will evolve. How can the palm oil processing use milder processing, use less chemicals, or maybe apply enzymes, and also how the industry can innovate the processes so that it can be more sustainable from the crop until the oil. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, another interesting topic surrounding palm oil industry now is the industry 4.0. Actually, this industry 4.0 is a major challenges for Malaysia as a whole. But for palm oil industry, it is generally known that palm oil industry is a very labor intensive industry, especially in the upstream. So now the challenges is how can palm oil industry embrace industry 4.0 and how can they transition to industry 4.0. So industry 4.0 is a trend of automation and data exchange. So it includes things like cyber physical systems, IoTs, cloud computings, and connected computings. So in general, it's a digital transformation where we can actually see a lot of this in other economic activities. You can see things like e-wallets, like online shopping. All these things involve digital transformation. So now this transformation, palm oil industry has to embrace this transformation in order to be sustainable, to be more sustainable. So as chemical engineers, skills will be engineered. There will be a high demand for engineers that can design, build, troubleshoot, and maintain these digital technologies. So due to this industry 4.0, so now chemical engineers, they not only need to have critical thinking, not only they must know how to solve problems, even now engineers must be data savvy as well due to this industry 4.0. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so engineer isn't just about dealing with machines. Previously, I have this kind of mindset. Okay, engineers, yeah, it's basically they are the people who will be heavily dealing with machines. But actually, this is not true, because we wouldn't make a very successful engineer if we don't have these transferable skills such as relationship management, leadership, and communication skills. Actually, these are the soft skills. You can say it's a very simple, but it's actually very important soft skills for engineers, not just chemical engineers. If we want to be a successful engineer, we must have very strong soft skills. Next slide, please. Okay, so what does palm oil processing industry expect from engineers nowadays? Yeah, so actually this is also very refreshing for me as a recent graduate. So what does the industry expect from people like us? So first, engineer must be able to apply knowledge and understanding to practical situations. And then they don't expect us to be bookworms. We must be able to apply what we learned, what we studied into actual situations. An engineer must be able to manage interpersonal relationships, again, the soft skills, and to demonstrate leaderships, and then to exhibit good communication skills. Engineers must be able to commit to a high standard of professional and ethical conduct. This is very important for engineers because of the work that we do. We must uphold the professional and ethical conducts. Otherwise, it will have very significant effects to not just the environment, but also to the people. Last but not least, engineers must be able to commit to continuous professional development related to professional knowledge and also competency. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so how can we develop and excel? Okay, so now we have idea of what the industry expect from engineers. So how should we plan, or how should we do? So here are three very straightforward points. First is again about soft skills. We must know how to connect with people. We must know how to network with people so that we can have this kind of idea sharing, like joining POPSIC is a way of how we connect with people from the same industry or from other industries. So this is very important. Then we also need to we cannot avoid going back to the basics, because for my experience as a chemical engineering student, there's a lot in chemical engineering program, really a lot. We learn a lot of stuff, but actually what we do when we graduated, it might be very specific. So in your career, you might be working on as the design engineer for maybe heat exchangers, solely heat exchangers. Then you might need to go back to the fundamental knowledge about heat exchangers, the working principles, the design procedures, all these things. So there are times that we have to go back, or we have to study back the fundamentals, the working principles, in order to identify the solutions for the problems that we are facing in our work. Last but not least, we have to uphold our professionalism. Again, engineer as a profession, we need to uphold this professionalism and ethical conducts, and we must always strive to build trust amongst the peers. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I believe that's all from me. So I hope what I'm shared today can more or less give you an idea about palm oil industry, and also about what chemical engineer actually can do in the palm oil industry. So again, thank you very much, and everyone stay safe.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. So I'm sure the students at least have some idea on what is expected of chemical engineers when they go into the palm oil industry. But of course, there's an opportunity for you to ask more questions later as well during the Q&A session. So please feel free to do so. You're always welcome to ask the questions in the chat. You can do so now if you'd like to, and we will address it during the Q&A when we have the time. All right. So let's move on to the next item on the agenda today, which is